Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name's Carter. I love talking about movies, horror movies, superheroes, and comic books. And earlier this week on Monday, I was very lucky to have seen Fly Me to the Moon early. My local theater chain, Megaplex Theaters, has done their very first secret screening. They've never done anything like this before, so it was very exciting for me as someone who literally goes to the theaters every week, if not multiple times every week, to go and see something that I had no clue what it was going to be like. I had to guess it was either Twisters or Fly Me to the Moon because they give the rating early. Fly Me to the Moon stars Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson and Romano. It's written by Rose Gilroy, and it has story by credits from Keenan, Flynn, and Kirstein. I could be totally mispronouncing that. I apologize. And it's directed by Greg Berlanti. And this is a movie that follows the space race and the Americans trying to put the astronauts from Apollo 11 onto the moon and trying to get there first. And it kind of follows NASA and the politics, the marketing behind it. Seeing the trailers for this, I was like, this is something that I feel like I would really like. I can be a sucker for rom-coms, a sucker for cutesy movies sometimes. When they work, they really work, but when they don't work, they do not work in the slightest. However, luckily, I have quite a few positives for this film. And starting out with the positives, my biggest one is that Scarlett Johansson is just so much fun in this movie. You can tell that she's having the time of her life here, just really acting her butt off. She is so charming in this film, so lovely. I thought that she was very funny, very charming, and easily the best part of this film. You can tell that this is something that she just wanted to do to kind of, have fun with it. It was something that she thought was interesting, and her character is easily the most interesting and engaging character in the entire film. Channing Tatum does a great job as well. He plays a very interesting character, but I thought that every performance here was good. A few cameos that also had me cracking up as well from SNL alumni, and I thought that they did a very, very good job, especially in one sequence where I was laughing so hard. And Romano does a great job as well. I think there's a few scenes in here that are a little serious. They turn that switch on in their heads to go from kind of lighthearted, charming to serious and conveying emotion very, very easily. And I think this movie wouldn't have worked without the performers that they chose. So props to all of the actors and actresses in this film. They're very, very memorable. Even small parts like Stu and the other engineer are very funny. Same with Kelly's assistant. She's very funny and charming. Same with the director. He is hilarious. He got the most laughs in my theater. Pretty much everyone had a great time seeing this when I asked them after the movie. I also think that it's directed pretty well. There's a few scenes here with great cinematography, and I forgot to say who the cinematography is by. The cinematography is by Darius Wolski. I totally could be mispronouncing that. I apologize. But I thought that the cinematography and directing were also very strong here. There's quite a few moments of, especially when the rockets are lifting off, or there's a shot that sticks in here where you see a rocket lifting off from someone's glasses. If I'm being totally honest, that may be an homage to movies like Apollo 13 or other films that have to do with space and the space race. I could totally be just in my zone thinking that's original, but I really liked that shot. I thought it was beautiful. I thought a lot of the shots here worked, and it does a great job of striking awe into you when the rockets lift off and kind of making you be so charmed by everyone in this film. It kind of feels like it's gonna peak with the rocket lifting off, but it doesn't. It's a very climactic sequence, climactic feeling, and then the rest of the climax is a little bit less kind of engaging or emotional. That would be a mix. We have officially gone into the mixed. I think that was something that could have worked, but it didn't quite stick the landing for me. Another thing here, like I said, the chemistry between Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson, it was passable, it was decent, but for a rom-com like this, you want leads that really work well together. Sometimes you felt like Channing Tatum just outright hated Scarlett Johansson, and like the characters, because their characters do, not like in real life, but sometimes that shtick didn't quite work for me. It kind of felt a little forced. It didn't really kind of stick the landing. And finally, going into my negatives, I would say the biggest negative here would be tone. It tries to work in Apollo 1, the tragedy from Apollo 1, and the Vietnam War here, which are both very heavy subject matters, very, very dark events. I mean, people died, and it tries to tie it into characters. I don't think it worked quite as well. I think, well, the actors really sold the emotional moments here and those darker moments. The screenplay and direction really didn't, unfortunately. They just didn't sell me. They didn't do as good of a job as I was hoping they would on flipping that tone and being able to balance it. I think that maybe they just put too much on those events, and it's like supposed to have kind of a more somber tone with those, but it just kind of ends up feeling a little jarring, like you get tonal whiplash when you're jumping from one of those to something lighthearted and funny. I just noticed that it kind of stuck out to me, and it stuck out to Mallory as well. And something that's not quite a negative, but something that should be noted, is that, well, this is a rom-com movie, the romance definitely kind of takes a back seat. The most of the movie is just kind of about the marketing of the Apollo 11 and the story behind it. And some people will find that very interesting and engaging, like myself. I think a lot of moments in history can be told exceptionally well in film. Other people will be a little disappointed by the rom-com aspect, especially since for as many jokes as they have, they didn't all land with me. I'd say it was about 50-50. Like some of the lines, like Channing Tatum's like, "What?" when they do the 52 missions in Korea line. I just didn't think that was funny, me personally. There's a few things like that where I was like, yeah, I mean, people around me were laughing, so it's definitely just me being a Scrooge. But I just have to give my opinion and put it out there. To where a lot of the rom-com stuff takes a backseat to this dramedy of assembling Apollo 11 and all the people that worked on it and everything going into it. So just keep that in mind when you go and see the film. Overall, though, I thought this was a very charming and fun movie. Well, it definitely has its faults, and some people would say it's just pretty generic, just with a different time period. I found it to be really fun. I thought I had a great time. It's a perfect date night movie, so if you're looking for one, keep this in mind when it comes out, I believe, on July 12th. Overall, I am going to give Fly Me to the Moon a 7.5 out of 10. My camera just died, so that's cool. Still looking for a catchy name for the 7.5 out of 10, so if you have anything in mind, let me know down in the comment section below. Anyways, guys, by this time, my Maxine review will be filmed and uploaded, if not just filmed. Feel free to check that out. So, as always, guys, have a great rest of your day.